What's up, mi gente? On this version of our bloody A Rican show, I am Count Mo.
I am blood-sucking Lou.
This time we're going to talk about a bit on the fantasy lane when it comes to vampires, because I don't know about you, but I've been a fan of the show, Interview with the Vampire.
Yes,
And
very good show.
oh my God, I've read all the books. I'm not gonna lie. I've read all the books, and I find that they've translated the characters, everything about the lore, to the screen so wonderfully done, and I'm looking forward to the third season, because at the end of the second, they gave the highlight of what it is, and I know they're going on the book called The Vampire Lestat. Now, for those you don't know, I'll give you a brief synopsis. This vampire was made 200 years ago, and he is what they call the Brat Prince. He loves to get into people's heads, mess around with them. It's his joy, We know people like that. We call them toxic for a reason. But in this iteration, 200 years later, he got tired with the world. He went to sleep. And he was only like about 100, 150, and he slept for 50 years. He woke up in the modern time, where there was music, and there was internet, there was social media, and he decided to form a band and sing, and he became a hit sensation. They show him like when they're fixing his face, getting his makeup together for his interview. So he's in the modern world, and I say but, he's telling the world that we exist. We are here. We are real. We're vampires. We're real. Which, of course, offends the hell out of
the vampires.
Hell yeah, because the one thing they can count on is their anonymity. The fact that they can hide in the shadows, blend with the human populace to a certain extent, without giving away the fact that they're predators. We're cattle. We're food.
Wonder if they're registered voters.
Exactly. They might have voted for Trump. Who knows? Who knows? But the idea in this book is going to get really exciting as far as the clan, or all clans, all houses are now going to probably go after him, because he's releasing their secrets. So it's going to be interesting to watch that particular version and what they do with it. And to me, they've done a great job at this point. They did say that they do sometimes, they go on book and they go and check out the book to make sure some accuracies here and there. But wow. I'm impressed. I'm loving this show, and I can't wait for season 3, bro.
Yeah. No, Interview with the Vampire shocked me. I loved it. I didn't think it was going to be that good, the series, because the movie, to me, was at a very high level.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, that was Tom Cruise who played Lestat.
Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Right. He played Lewis.
Yes.
And Antonio Banderas played Armand.
Yes.
The vampire Armand. And what's funny is that the second one, The Queen of the Dam, actually combined 2 books together.
Yeah, it combined
2 books together.
And it combined the second and the
well, actually, it's like the second and the third. So it dealt with the vampire Lestat and the Queen of the Dam put together as one. Not 2 separate stories, but one whole story in itself. They made the short rise of his return and him being a superstar, and then bang, the awakening of Akasha and how he plays into it with that awakening. But what I have to say is the soundtrack, awesome. Linkin Park, David Dormain, just to name a few. I can hear that album even today, and some of the songs on there, because when they did an interview with them, they wanted to, when they were bringing the character as a rock singer, they wanted to say, okay, what would a rock singer sing if he was in this modern era? What sort of albums would he come out with? And so in that respect, the album, the songs were original, thought through, and damn, it's like you would definitely believe this is a vampires among us in that respect. And so again, I can't wait until this series comes out, because there's a lot more books to follow. I mean, you got the Tales of the Body Thief, and you have Menach, the devil, where the actual devil meets Lestat and asks him to be one of his demons, or not a demon, to be side by side with him and rule the upper world while he rules hell.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yo, this is next level, bro. This is next level stuff.
What's that one called?
That one will be called Menach the Devil.
But it's a book out.
Oh yeah, it's a book.
It's already a book. Okay.
It's already a book. Tales of the Body Thief was one person who had the ability to switch bodies, and he convinced Lestat to switch bodies with him because he wanted to be, feel like what it would be a vampire, and he wanted to, and Lestat, out of his, crazy curiosity, wanted to find out what it is to feel human again. It's been over 500 years, so why not? What does it feel like to be human? And then the body switched happened, and all hell break loose.
Okay.
All hell break loose. So those are next books coming down the line that I would definitely love to see if this show continues that far to get there.
What do you think of the lore of vampires? Like, for example, you have the Interview with the Vampire,
Mm-hmm.
that lore, and then you have the Bram Stoker
Okay.
lore. And
normally you would say, okay, this would be where art imitates life, but there's really no telling of any actual. I mean, there are people who pretend to be, well, I'm not say pretend, who actually live this lifestyle and that, but are they actual vampires? Is there actually Vlad the Impaler? I mean, there's a history of him, but there's no telling of him being a vampire. That's just maybe folklore story. Now, you take the lore, the creation of these two different lores are interesting. With Bram Stoker, Dracula was the first of his kind. He became a vampire through some sort of sickness or whatever, and then from that point forward, the life that he lived going forward, like, the law always says sunlight can kill them, but it's demonstrated in the book that, even in the movie, that he can walk amongst you in sunlight. The thing is, it doesn't kill him unless he's directly in contact with it.
Not so much sunlight. It has to be like a cloudy day.
Yeah, a cloudy day, but he can still walk amongst you in in his form, but he would not be as strong or as powerful he is, whereas at night there's no sunlight. Hence, over to Interviewing the Vampire, you have vampires that were created thousands of years ago from what they call the mother and father, who were possessed by spirits. And those spirits that possessed them made them carnivorous to blood. And then they were vampires at that point forward.
Right.
And then every other vampire that was created from that point was infected with the very same possession. The spirit could divide it 1,000, 100,000 times that created other vampires, but they're possessed of that spirit. And it's said in the lore that if you killed the mother and father, all die. So basically, you kill Akasha, you kill her king. You can kill the king, no one dies. But once you kill Akasha, they're the first two, then every other vampire born from that dies. Because that shock or whatever is supposed to reverberate all the way through. But now another twist, similar though, is Underworld and their lore.
That was a badass movie.
Celine, tight leather,
The first
guns,
the first three. After that,
zipper, bust back. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Get back on topic. Okay.
Yeah. The first three movies were.
Oh yeah.
But after that, it became.
But it was original story. It didn't have any other story in the background. Boom, just popped up.
It was meant to be a comic book. That's
meant
why.
to be, yes.
Yeah.
But
he wrote it as a comic book.
Well, the comic book come to life, bro. Because when I first saw it, I was in shock. I was like, oh wow, lichens, that had to wait. That in the beginning they had no control of their transformations. Only by the moonlight was what swayed them. And then when they got to be like 1,000 years old, then they were in control of their transformations. They can transform it. They can transform at will.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, oh, okay. And then of course the modern weapons. Like in the days of 1700, they had swords. They had spike rope to tie down or incapacitate them, or the sword if you had to decapitate them. That was it. Now they had the Lycan rounds, bullets encased with silver, because that's what can kill them, silver. And then created the vampire rounds, and when you take ultraviolet light and turn it into a liquid, that ultraviolet light is actually the sun source, and that's what can kill them. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I was what? And then the source, the way they were created, it was Marcus Aurelius. And again, studious to this stuff because I love vampire lore. Marcus Aurelius was a ruler who then his village was struck by a plague. Now, as it killed many people, it didn't kill him, and he had a way of manipulating it. And then he became, after he manipulate. I gotta get that word out. He became the first immortal, and then the sons that were born from that. One was bitten by a bat, an actual vampire bat that sucked blood, and he became the first vampire. The other one was bitten by actually a wolf, and then he became the first werewolf or Lycan, as they become it. The sons of Corvinus, one bitten by a bat, the other bitten by a wolf, as the story goes.
The one, I feel bad for the one bitten by the wolf. He didn't have no control.
He had no control, period. But all that he bit after that, and all that were bit from that, over time, after a certain amount, like 1,000 years, the moon will have no sway over them. Now they can transform at will at that point. So it was something else. But yes, it's been one of the best series so far. What, 4 films so far?
No, more than that. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait till there's another. I mean, I don't know if they can get Kate Beckinsale to get back into that corset leather that I love so much. I mean, wait, to be the
if they can't get her, I would
death dealer. Sorry.
If they can't get her, I would get the lady from Resident Evil.
Mila Jovovich?
Yeah. I would get her. She could pull it off.
I think she could pull it off. I mean, I was not my first thought. I mean, if you can get a Scarlett Johansson,
yeah, well, yeah.
Guns.
But I'm talking about one who has the same. I want to say the same physique. Yeah. Same physique and all, but still, it's a bad. I mean, when you're talking about these films, each one of them, I mean, the list goes on, and some of this. As far as good movies are concerned. Right.
And the top 3, as we already mentioned, Bram Stoker, Dracula, Interview with a Vampire, Underworld. They all have their lores and their things. Like they would start like same as in there, where if you kill the father, everyone dies. But it didn't wind up being that way.
No,
not at all. So you don't really know, except if you attack and you hurt that one, then whatever hurts them, you kill them.
There's actually 4 leaders, 4 or 5. Yeah.
And we'll get to those leaders when we come back. So we'll see you back in a little while with more A Ricans.
by Charles Laloma will be available in hard copy or digital.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to A Rican. I'm Wheels on Wheels Lou. I'm Bloodthirsty Mo. Welcome back. And going over our last topic when we were talking about vampires, there's 3 different. Thank you.
You're welcome.
O positive for anyone out there. Be careful. So as we were talking about it, it's like you have those 3, lores of it, and you kind of wonder, like, for instance, Stephen King's Salem Lot.
Yes.
Okay, you had one that was the main one. If you got that one, all are dead. So they always had that same running theme. Now, how do they get the ideas for this stuff? I mean, I don't know. It's like it could be a lot of rumors, speculation, because vampires have been around, as far as lore is concerned, over a century at least. So, in fact, it's easy to turn that into, great franchises from Underworld. And I would say they're a franchise, the reverse of themselves, now going into their 3rd series with the Interview with the Vampire. That's the latest iteration that I think sells it so well, because it does delve into the story the way it's supposed to.
I saw there's a movie that came out maybe a year and a half ago, and I enjoyed it. It was called The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Yeah.
And it had to do with the vampire in a boat, and it's the same vampire from Bram Stoker. That's what made it special.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same vampire from
Dracula traveling across the boat, feeding on the passengers, with the exception, I think the captain was the one who survived, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was the doctor.
The doctor, that's right. And he was writing and the tale of what was going on. But at the end, he was going to go after him. So as far as a sequel is concerned, I'm waiting for it, because I think it's going to be good to see. When I first watched it, I was like, oh.
The crappiest movie that's out now on streaming, it's the Nosferatu.
I haven't really watched that yet. I watched the old ones, and especially one with
I heard the scene where you see the curtain and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably one of the hottest scenes.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh well, so much for that. And it's supposed to be, cited for a film come the Academy, an award. I'm like, for what? I'm going to see it. I'm regretting saying that now, but after hearing this, but I'm going to see it just to see.
It's better to see it at home than paying all that money in the theater.
Of course, we're Latinos. We don't spend that kind of money like that. No,
unless
like if it's a Marvel film, I want to see it on the big screen. But this. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
$5. There you go. You know what I mean? Wow.
Yeah. They not that good, they say.
Not that we endorse pirating in any way, our mighties. So that being said,
one of the better ones is the werewolf one. I heard that is awesome.
Saw it. The Wolfman.
Is it good?
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
It doesn't deal in the lore the way other werewolf films have happened. It's just it talks more. The story develops more into the family, and the problems that the husband and wife were kind of having, and so the idea was for the husband to go see his father, because his father, I think, had died, and he had to take possession of the house. And so going out there, said, let's make it a little family vacation. We can maybe rekindle something, work on something, because they were on that edge. So it's dealing in that kind of storyline where they're going out there to hopefully to build new beginnings, re-bridge the burned bridges between each other, and hopefully be a stronger couple instead of having to worry about divorce. No one said my husband's a werewolf or gonna become.
They got a new beginning.
Yeah,
Couldn't get a divorce.
They couldn't get a divorce.
You know, you went from man to dog, so it's I can't divorce a dog.
You know what I wish they made with today's special effects?
Mm-hmm.
The Howling.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because I had a conversation with Robert Picardo, and he was the werewolf that did that transformation, and it was because of a Star Trek event, and with my group, the New York City away team, we got passes. I mean, we got the royal treatment. We were picked out of 30. We got front row seating for the panel for all the Star Trek shows, Strange New Worlds, Discovery, not Discovery, yeah, Strange New Worlds, Starfleet Academy, and Lower Decks. Then from there, and I didn't know this was happening, we were then led to a place outside of the Comic-Con, nice little restaurant / bar, and that was a get-together with us fans and the entertainers themselves directly. I was like, what? It was incredible. And at one point, I came across, it's like I'm standing there, and Picardo, he had his drink in his hand, he came over and said, how you doing, sir? We had a nice little conversation and said, let me ask you something. How did it feel with the transformations that you did for the Howling? He said, because he thought I was going to ask something Star Trek. I said, I went further back than that. When he was a young man, long ass hair, and he was doing that, and he was telling me, it's like, it wasn't bad except for one part. Because I said there's a 30th anniversary version out there in which the very first beginning of that transformation was done in the dark. Because there was a YouTube video that showed the top 10 vampire transformations. Of course, the top 2 will always be The Howling and American Werewolf in London. Because that one was
rightfully so,
and was in a very lit scene, so the whole thing lit, and you could see this thing. I mean, there was no CGI, there was bladders and animatronics to make everything happen. So he was telling me that, I said, how did that feel? How long did it take? I mean, did you suffer anything? He said, no, except for one place. And there's this, and you'll see it if you look at it, the transformation, and you see that his neck is like reverberating this way. He said, that's the one that hurts. And what do you mean? I said, I don't want to hurt you, but it feels like someone doing that to you. Like it's chopping you in the throat. And it's like, I don't want to hurt you. I said, it feels like that. I said, oh, damn, really? So as many times, or whatever scenes they did, it was showing me that bladder on his neck that was reverberating was actually hurting him. That's the only thing. Not the head, not the ears popping out, or the whole thing with the hands. And everything else was bladder, like when he popped his chest and his chest came out, and all that whole transformation, that was all him. That was all him done. Again, even if you're not, like I said, if you're a fan of story, special effects, you're not withholding, that's a movie to watch. The first one, don't even watch any of the 6 failures that followed. And I'm saying failures, because every time it came up, sucker went to the video place and said, hopefully this one is good. And I come back and I look at him and say, I want my friggin' money back. This was garbage. You stole 2 hours of my life. He looks at me and says, see you next week? Yeah, sure. But yeah, a lot of that, I mean, American Werewolf in London, especially, like when they did a female version of it,
I didn't even bother seeing that one.
I didn't either. Well, at least I put it on, and it was watching me because I was falling asleep. That's what I did. I didn't watch it. It watched me. And every time I opened my eyes, every now and then, I saw her transformation. I was like, oh, that sucked. Then I went right back to sleep.
What was the second? Paris, right?
Yeah.
Paris was the second.
American Werewolf in Paris. And I'm like,
Imagine if they did American Werewolf and The Howling with today's CGI.
But with today's CGI, they did something similar to that. And it was one of my favorites. I don't know why it didn't become a favorite, but I would love to see those two remade, yes, with today's CGI, but with today's CGI, there was one that was done with Benicio del Toro.
It's called The Wolfman.
The Wolfman, the original Wolfman. They remade that one. Anthony Hopkins was in it. I love Anthony Hopkins' work. And he was in it too. And I got to tell you, to me, that's one of those underrated
films that I've seen as far as a werewolf film is concerned. I mean, love a good werewolf film, and this one was actually really good, even up to the scene of the transformations that he did. Beautifully done. The first one when he's climbing up a steep stairwell in the dungeon, coming up to the light, and you can see everything happening. The hands transforming, the feet elongating, and then when he got to that, like, oh,
You know what was good too, and I enjoyed it. The Jack Nicholson werewolf.
that was modern for its time, and storytelling was actually pretty good. If I'm not mistaken, it was him and what's his name from Age of Ultron. I thought he played, of course, Ultron.
Spade.
Yep, James Spader. Thank
Yeah.
you, James Spader. And so it was nicely done. It didn't have, I mean, like they didn't take away the transformation, like turning him into a full wolf, like kind of half and half, so that the face was normal in every way. I love that scene when he faced his rival. He says, "What are you doing?" "I'm marking my territory."
Yeah.
You gotta hand it for Jack Nicholson for stuff that's just out of this world. You don't know when it's coming, but that's him. He's off the hip, improv all the way.
Yeah.
But going back to the Benicio del Toro, favorite scene is that they capture him and they accuse him of the murders happening, even though the evidence shows that it was an animal. And he says, "I'm a werewolf." And they put him through all sorts of hell to rehabilitate him because he thinks he's mentally sick. And so they put him on display, strapped down into a chair. And we will put him in front of the moonlight and we will show that he will not turn into this creature. And you got an audience of men around the corner. And the minute you see that happening, and then everything, I mean, this is me talking. I'm the smart Latino. When I see a click, I'm like, bye.
Yes.
Nope. Exit stage left. I will find an exit, get my ass out of here. Because quite frankly, he's changing into something that he said he wasn't, but he is. He is. It's like, that's enough. You go, mira, lobo, bye-bye.
Yeah.
And the rest of them are still standing like, how? It's like, mira, you see this, the claws, the feet, and all that, and the teeth.
It's time for you to go.
It's like, it wasn't a clear, I mean, what do you need? A little guy on the left is like, mira, lárgate, pendejo. I was like, you need to hear that?
Yeah, no.
Oh, no, but it was one of the good scenes. Him running around.
Yeah.
You thought he was running around too, but then he went, plop, plop, all four.
Yeah.
And he dived over. Oh, my God. And then it didn't end with him, because then there's that scene where he faces the father. And then that whole fatherly transformation. It was like, wow, Anthony Hopkins is a werewolf. I'm like, ooh. But I know one got bitten at the end, and he looked at his wounds and said, well, you're next. You're next. That's Mr. Smith. Whatever his name is, I forget his name, but he's Mr. Smith from the Matrix.
Ah.
All I can see him now is a werewolf. Mr. Anderson. That's I would love to see that.
Mr. Anderson.
But yeah, see the Howling redone, but redone right. Just not redone for the sake of redoing it for
No.
special effects, because the special effects should not be the key thing of that film.
Have a good storyline.
True.
Have it touch on the original storyline, but don't make it a complete copy.
No. If anything, if you're gonna, and I agree, and I'll even put something on top of that. If you're gonna treat it as a cult film, like they're a cult, then make it feel like it's a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Give it all the indications without the wolf stuff.
Yeah.
And then make it into a cult. I think that would be a hit and a seller in itself, because now you're fooling people one way with misdirection of the way a cult acts, but then surprise. Hello, mother father. I'm a doggy. I'm gonna eat you. That sort of thing.
A doggy with rabies. This one.
Oh yeah, exactly. So telling a story like that, yeah, I would definitely go for that, because it's misdirection, it's good storytelling, and people on the edge, and then bam,
Yeah.
you hit them with the third part, bang, of them being monsters. Yeah, I can go with that. And as we sway over the the afternoon moon right now, and
revert ourselves to our normal selves. We'll be right back after a commercial break. All right? See you soon for more Nerdy Ricans.
Greetings to all parents seeking an educational and entertaining show for your child. Look no further, as I am delighted to introduce you to Raiden's World. Hosted by the talented Raiden Laloma. This captivating show immerses young viewers in a world of imagination, science, and more, making learning a delightful experience. If you have Roku TV, simply download the LDM Network channel app or visit www.raidensworld.com for updates, games, and more. Also stay updated by following the show on Instagram. Raiden's World is carefully crafted to engage children in a fun and educational manner, fostering their curiosity and love for learning. The show offers a unique blend of entertainment and knowledge, ensuring that your child's educational needs are met while they enjoy the wonders of Raiden's adventures. We invite you to join us on this educational voyage that promises not only to entertain your child but also to expand their horizons. It is the perfect combination of fun and learning, creating a wholesome viewing experience for both children and parents alike. So, why wait any longer? Dive into the world of Raiden's World today and witness the magic unfold before your eyes. Thank you for choosing us to be a part of your child's educational journey.
Hi, I am Charles Aloma, and I am the owner of the LDM Network, and I hope that you're enjoying this episode. But if you want to see past episodes of this show or any other of our shows, go to the ldmnetwork.net. We have large contents of different type of shows, and we even have podcasts. So again, check them out at ldmnetwork.net. So without further ado, let's get back to this episode.
Welcome to Nerdy Rican again. We back from the commercial. Would you stop with the fleas, Mo? Jesus.
Sorry, coño.
You
know, I should get a collar later. What can I say?
I'll get you one.
Thank you.
They say Enterprise sucks.
Yeah. I'm gonna lift my leg and pee on you. Keep it up, bro. So, with that being said, we were back with talking about werewolves, transformations. Again, love the one from the Wolfman with Benicio del Toro. Oh my God! But there was a listing that I came across, and it put the Wolfman as like the top 10 werewolf transformations, and down here it was like number 10 was the Wolfman. I'm like, are you kidding me? Wow. In comparison to some of the others that I see here, a few of them were not CGI, and okay, granted, you know, but to me they weren't that great. And with this one with Benicio del Toro, I mean, they really, really did a good job of it. Even with his eye, you know, almost popping out the socket and changing its hue to that of a wolf, and then popping back in. I'm like, wow. But it rated number 10. Now number 9 on this squad, which was kind of a cute favorite for me, the Monster Squad.
I've never seen the Monster Squad.
Gotta see it. It's a cute classic. It follows like during the time of the Goonies.
Okay.
So, you know, the Goonies, and then kids just facing supernatural odds against creatures. You had a vampire, you had Frankenstein's monster, the mummy, and the werewolf. And I love that scene the most when the Wolfman is actually coming after a kid, and the kid kicked him right up in the naughty section, as we like to call it. It's funny, the wolf went down hard after that. You're like, ooh! And you're like, Wolfman's got nuts. I'm like, I love that movie for that alone and that scene. But it was it's one of those cute Goonies type films. If you're nostalgic for it, Monster Squad is one. Okay, and then of course, all-time favorite, Michael J. Fox, Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf.
That one actually, the transformation was funny but not graphic, and then he looked like a cool wolf and playing basketball and everything. It's just like, you know, the hairiest, you know, player on the team who can slam dunk. So again, not a huge transformation, but a good film to watch for for overall comedy, that's Teen Wolf.
Nostalgic reasons.
Now, I gotta say, 10, 9, 8, number 7 on this list, right? One of my personal favorites because it's from screen novelist Stephen King.
The Silver Bullet.
Hell yeah! Now, again, a werewolf film, Stephen King, and a werewolf. I don't have to say anything else. All I gotta say is get it, see it. It is that good. The transformation scene, the one that they actually did where, the police thought they captured or cornered it, and it's actually, the dude, and then you just see the collar expand, and all of a sudden he turns into it, and everybody's fighting. I'm like saying to myself, stupid. He's like, you stupid. He's like, they're going in there and they're trying to shoot, and it's all dark, and they're pissed. And then the flashlight catches hints of stuff. Like the bartender had this bat called the Peacemaker. It's like you see in the beginning of the film, like keep peace between people, and then you see him try to use it, and you hear the wolf go, ooh, and then all of a sudden you hear a snap. And then you see him holding it, but the other half is broken. But the Peacemaker is there, and he's beating the dude with his own bat. So, you have scary and funny, but again, Silver Bullet, another one.
Side note,
Shoot.
I've never found Stephen King movies or books scary. Now, it's never scared me. If you people out there
read,
which I know you do, please let me know which one scared you, because I've never seen one that scares me. I enjoy them, but it don't frighten me. They don't frighten me. None of the scary.
Like The Shining. Everybody's like, I got scared. I'm like,
No.
I didn't.
I didn't get scared over The Shining.
Not at all.
I loved it.
No, I mean, I was in an office during the pandemic, and it felt like The Shining because it was just 3 departments there, and that's it. And we're talking maybe the top 12 people, and then we had to walk around the entire building. When the CEO came over to see the place, the new one, I told him and with his family, said, look, okay, thanks, hey, congratulations, welcome aboard. 2 things you need to know. 1, if you pass by the 3rd floor, you see like 2 ladies by the elevator, leave them alone. They're always standing there facing the elevator. You see a kid with a big red rum, don't worry about him. He's just a nuisance. But I would be very careful of a person who you might hear, he says, here's Johnny. That's when you should leave. Now, the CEO